Hey guys, what's going on? How's everyone doing today? Whoops, hold on just a sec. My phone is having a little bit of problem. Hold on. There we go. Gotta be quick about it, because if I don't plug it in, it'll on me, it'll die. Because I gotta keep this thing plugged in all the time, unfortunately. So I wanted to talk about something. Actually, Stephanie was the one that told me about this. She did a video, a little while ago on this. This is Itchy Bacca's blog on Disney Star Wars. And I'm telling you right now, just looking at this content really tells you how twisted and how evil Disney and Lucasfilm can really be. Guys, come on! Hold on a second, I am so sorry. Bishop, hey! Hold on a second, I got a street line here. Bishop, look! Hold on. I got him a chip. How about we shut up for a few minutes? Oh, I just got my tongue. Oopsie. Bishop, you stepped on my phone. Right, dog. Okay. Bishop, sit. Beep beep. No. Yes, we got a dog named Beep Beep. We got a whole bunch of dogs. We got too many, actually. These are medium-sized dogs, and we got one big one that likes to run around. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of go over these, and it's awesome that Itchy Bacca has created this, because it just shows you that. Stop it, guys! Come on! Goodness! Bishop, don't bite me! It just shows you that Disney does not care about Star Wars fans whatsoever. And they want to completely bury George Lucas. They also want to bury the original fans, and they want to, make it for children only. Well, guess what? You're doing a very poor job at that. So, let's get started. And, I'll read here. It says you've all read SJWs make the same fake arguments over and over again. Below are some handy images created by EU Rebellion that dispel many of the commonly parroted myths about the expanded universe. Feel free to post them into any relevant discussion or debate online. Many of these quotes can be found at the expanded universe, where they have a webpage filled with facts debunking common myths. Okay. So this one here says, the expanded universe went against Lucas's own vision. Okay, well, of course it does say false. And it says, on the bottom, it says, rest assured that the wonderful expanded fictional universe enjoyed by so many fans has in no way stomped or trampled on any of George Lucas's prerogatives or opinions. And that is 100% correct. Okay, so back in the early 80s, back in the 90s, when there were people writing, stories about Star Wars, this was official canon. And the authors that were wanting to create a story or a game even for Lucas had to get permission from Lucas himself. Also, Lucas had to go over basically over the story to make sure it was lore friendly, to make sure that everything fit into the Star Wars universe. And so, okay, so why this? I mean, the expanded universe went against Lucas. Okay, Disney, I don't know why you say this, but the expanded universe did not go against Lucas's own vision. It was actually, lore friendly. It didn't go against, Lucas's Star Wars. It didn't go. Your content, however, does. Your content for Star Wars now goes against Lucas's vision. Basically kind of eliminating the fact that, there were authors out there that wrote fantastic books on Star Wars and the expanded universe, and, told about, different characters and, different stories about Star Wars. Okay. Here's the other one. The franchise was rebooted to bring Chewbacca back to life. Okay, so, and it says at the bottom, Chewbacca being dead / not dead is merely my personal justification, rationalization for the new reboot, nothing more. And the decision was made long before I joined the story group. I think it's what George Lucas said. No, I'm sorry, Leyland. Oh, that's okay. That's a Twitter account. Okay. Well, I disagree with this. That the Star Wars film that Disney Star Wars Star Wars itself was rebooted because Chewbacca, to bring him back to life. Now, I did not know about Chewbacca being killed. I haven't read enough of the EU to know. And unfortunately, I'm guilty of that. I need to, research more of the EU, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to find any EU books, but I don't know if, seeing as Disney put them in Legends, and probably they're probably scattered all over the place. Thanks to Disney, of course. But yeah, I did not know about this. I did not know that Chewie actually died in the EU. But that's not why they rebooted it, though. The reason why they rebooted Star Wars was to, like Stephanie was mentioning today, to remove original fans from Star Wars. Also, put an agenda on it. Basically teach young kids that racism and feminism and gender equality is okay, which is actually not. And basically that crap is being shoved not only down our throats, but it's also being shoved down our child's throats.
That's not okay.
And that's not okay, no.
If we want to teach our children that, then that's our job.
Exactly.
To do that. No one else's.
I mean, you have a choice whether or not, you should have a choice whether or not to teach your children that or to not.
Yeah,
and
well, seeing as you're the parent of that said child,
yeah,
you either gave birth to them or you fathered them, then yeah, that is your right. That is no one else's right to shove that crap down anyone else's children's throat. If you want to teach that crap to your kids, then go right ahead.
No, give back.
Leave our kids alone.
Exactly. But I agree with that.
You're not my children's parent.
Nope.
So, what the hell out.
Okay. This one says the EU was ridiculous and even had a Jedi droid. Okay. A Jedi droid. Okay, well, see, R2-D2 not only was with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, but he's also with Anakin and Padme. Padme was not a Jedi. And then he was with Luke. So, what is that? Why is that a problem to have a Jedi droid? I mean, that should be no problem at all. There are tons of droids in Star Wars. There are many different kinds. There are protocol droids. There are astromech droids. There are mass droids. There are pit droids. There are battle droids. Battle droids didn't exist in the Galactic Empire, but they did in the Clone Wars. They had all kinds of different kinds of battle droids. Super battle droids, regular battle droids. They had what are those things called? Droidicas. They had all kinds of different droids. Even in the Galactic Empire. During the Galactic Empire, they had, tons of droids. Gonk droids, protocol. Did I say protocol? I think I said protocol. Yeah, I did. I said protocol. But, the thing is, they had tons of droids. And, R2-D2, has served, like I said, he served Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, then Anakin, and then Luke. So, there's no problem with having, a Jedi droid. Yeah, but it says false. Skippy the Jedi droid featured in Star Wars Tales, a series which was never canon. Basically everything, those items marked with an infinity logo, the Star Wars Tales comics is considered canon. So yeah, this is what, this one right here is what ticked me off. George Lucas had no involvement in the expanded universe.
Bullcrap.
Okay.
We call bullcrap.
Yeah, I call bullcrap on that, because what Disney does not realize is that George Lucas was the one who okayed most of the canon stories that these authors wrote. Like, for example, I think one of the authors was named James Cameron. Yeah, James Cameron. No, I'm sorry, not James Cameron. James Luceno. Sorry, I got mixed up with the Avatar director. Sorry about that. Because, their names are both the same. James Luceno was a canon writer. I know that. I actually got a few books from him. Ryder Windham was also a canon writer. I don't know if he is anymore. He probably isn't because Lucas is no longer the owner of Lucasfilm. And I think there was another one. I think his name was like Matthew something. I can't remember. Hold on, let me find. Whoops. Let me find. Matthew Stover. That was another E writer that I know of. But yeah, he would have had an involvement because he would have had to been the one to okay these stories by these, writers for Star Wars. So yes, he actually did. Let's see. It says here, Lucas approves every important addition to the canon. The ambitious story beats contained in the new game, The Force Unleashed, were permitted only after he signed off and spent hours talking to the developers about the relationship between Darth Vader and the Emperor. So yeah, he would have to be the one to approve any story that someone, like a publisher, not a publisher, but an author would come forwards to him. Like, hey, I've got a nice Star Wars story. Is it okay if I, is it okay? Yeah, because, George Lucas would have to be the one to okay it. Because if he said, like, okay, this isn't good, or this is good, he would either...
This is not more friendly.
Yeah. It had to be okay with...
They had to change it.
It had to be okay with Star Wars. It had to fit into the storyline, into the lore. So, yes, he had an involvement. That is completely false.
Yeah.
And of course it goes on with the... Okay, so... Nothing has changed. The reboot was the decision of Lucasfilm. Still, Iger wanted to make sure that Lucas, who was used to controlling every aspect of Star Wars, from set design to lunchboxes, understood that Disney and Lucasfilm would have final say. Yeah, and that's true. It wasn't just Lucasfilm, it was also Disney that wanted to reboot Star Wars. I think mainly Disney, because Disney wanted all the money, because they made toys and, other garbage, from Force Awakens and Rogue One. And, well, I have to say Rogue One wasn't that bad, but I still won't watch it because I can't support it. Or like, even Solo or The Last Jedi. I think the worst toy line for any type would be The Last Jedi, because they came out... There was a character in The Last Jedi that was basically in the film for at least a minute, and she still got a figure. It's like, what?
Yeah. So what happened to all those extras?
Shut up, Isabella.
From the original series.
Yeah.
That were only in the film for a minute. Why didn't they get their own action figures?
Yeah, they eventually did. Isabella, stop it. They eventually did, because if you remember, copy it. If you remember, there was like IG-88, Forlom, Dengar, the bounty hunters that appeared on Vader's flagship. It took them years to make those bounty hunter figures, but I don't think it took them that long, but I think it took them about a few years or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't appear, until years after Episode 5 came out. And, there were some rare characters that appeared, years later after, the Star Wars films came out. The original Star Wars films. There are even figures out there that you only see once, like that guy that was talking to Obi-Wan about death sticks. I don't think he even showed up until, Episode 2 was out for a few years. But a figure, a lady who appears, automatically, and then she dies, and it's like, so you're yeah, and yet she gets her own fucking figure. Pardon my French.
Yeah.
That's just stupid.
That's bull.
That's stupid. That's bullcrap. Just keep saying no involvement. Yeah, which is completely bogus. Okay. And a lot of these things really have some good points too. The EU must follow certain tenets set by George through the films and other guidelines that he provides. Exactly. That's a very good point. Let's see if we can find any more here. Yeah, the Star Wars expanded universe lacked continuity. How is that even possible? If no, Disney, I think that your universe lacks that because it doesn't have no depth. It's not written correctly. I mean, you have literally gone out of your way to destroy whatever Lucas and authors of canon have written. And your canon that you claim that is yours, you claim that it has continuity. It does not. George Lucas's canon is far better than what yours is, because at least Lucas's canon was lore friendly. Yours is not. So, I keep saying it. The top one here says, she, Lucy Wilson of Lucasfilm, has told us that we don't necessarily have to refer to everything that happens in the other writers' adventures, but we want to make certain that we don't contradict anything. Yeah, I think that means like don't contradict, Mom. Contradict. What does that mean? Does it mean like copyright or?
No, it just so it's not like either repeated or it's not God,
it's not written over.
How do I word that? No, that it matches up.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, we'll keep going. Oh yeah, Timothy Zahn was also a canon writer, I think. Yeah, it says other writers before myself and Timothy Zahn are writing further adventures in the Star Wars universe, all of which will begin regularly appearing in your bookstore. Each installment changes the characters and the galactic situation in the overall saga. The Star Wars universe is complex and vast. Exactly. And internationally consistent, and we authors have to keep it that way. Yeah, that's true. But see, the people who have been writing Star Wars books now are not doing that. They're basically just, hold on a second. Like they're in a big file room. Sorry about that. They're basically in a big file room. And they've got all these files. And basically, this is Disney. Disney has all these files of Lucasfilm. All these files strewn on the floor. That's how I feel, the Star Wars universe is now. Because it's all over the place. So, they don't have continuity at all. They don't know how to write. They don't know how to... Basically, Disney now is just good at stealing other people's stories. Let's see here. Keep going. I keep saying... Okay. Sorry about that. And this here says, the Star Wars expanded universe lacked planning. Okay. That's wrong too. That's false. Because you gotta think, I'm sure it probably took these authors possibly months to a year to write up what they had, and whatever they had wrote up, they would take to George Lucas. And if George Lucas did not like, that they had to edit it or they had to, add something to it, and because that's what, a creator does. If you go to a creator of something, like for example, like say if I wanted to go to Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman and tell them about a TMNT story that I wanted to write, or a TV show or a movie, and I'm like, okay, hey, I want to make this movie, and is there anything that I can either remove from this or can I add from it or add to it? And they would give me tips, and they would give me pointers, and they would probably help me to add something or remove something. So no, that is false. I don't know how Disney even thinks that the Star Wars universe lacked planning, because it didn't. Because, why do you think these authors were so, they had best-selling books? Because they worked with George Lucas. Duh. If it wasn't for Lucas, we wouldn't have these books today. Like Heir of the Empire, or here's a book, The Revenge of the Sith. This is also a book, this I got here right here. It's called Labyrinth of Evil. You've got all kinds of books, that were written by these wonderful canon, writers for Star Wars. And I'm sure they all went to Lucas, or, they even created a Lego, like a Lego show back in 2011, just before Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney. And it was good. I liked it. But I'm sure that, the whole point of this is, though, the people who wrote these Star Wars books, collaborated with George Lucas, asked him, like, hey, what should I add? What should I remove? Is there anything else you can give me? You ask about something. You don't just automatically make, you can't automatically make, it's like, okay, so you all know of the game Skyrim, right? I don't know if you do. If you do not know of Skyrim, you've been living under a rock, you've been hiding under a rock for, years.
6-7 years.
But okay, Skyrim is a platform as a game on PC, Xbox, PlayStation 3, 4, Xbox One. And, okay, so it's basically Nordic, and you can kill dragons, absorb their soul, which is awesome as hell. But say I wanted to go to Bethesda, that's the game company that made Star Wars, listen to me, Skyrim, right? LucasArts was responsible for creating Star Wars games. But anyway, if I wanted to go to Bethesda, I wanted to create like a sequel to that game. I would have to ask them, because they know the lore of the game. They know because they were the ones that created it. So I'd have to ask them questions like, okay, so, what should I put in the game? What should I not put in the game? Is this okay for, is this okay, to add? Is this, and they would give, they would give me points. They would, tell me to remove this, to add that. That's, like I said, that's what a creator does. You ask that person whoever created what, because, and the one thing that Disney is doing wrong is that they're claiming Star Wars for themselves. They're giving themselves credit when they should be giving credit to George Lucas. And they're not doing that. Because Lucas was the one who created Star Wars in the first place. And yet, they had an opportunity to ask Lucas about Star Wars. And they failed.
Yeah.
Miserably. You had that perfect opportunity. You could ask George Lucas anything in the world, and you chose not to include him. You basically chose to butt him out of Star Wars completely.
Yeah. And he even offered.
Yes. And there was an interview.
Like, oh no, we got it.
There was
got it.
Yeah, exactly. There was an interview I think he did with Charlie Rose or something like that. I can't remember the guy's name. Charlie Rose, and he even told Charlie that he sold Star Wars to white slavers. And that's exactly what Disney is. They are white slavers. They don't care nothing for the fans. Lucasfilm doesn't even care about them. Carrie, listen to me. Sorry. Lucasfilm doesn't even care for them. All they care about is money. And they want to push their own agenda. That's the only thing they want to do. They don't want to hear us. They don't want to hear our pleas. They don't want to hear what we have to say. They want to ignore us, and they want to do what the hell they want to do. It's like they're saying, well, this is our toy, and we get to do whatever the hell we want with it. Well, guess what? Star Wars is ours too, not just yours. Actually, if you think about it, Star Wars should belong to the fans, not Disney and Lucasfilm.
Yeah, like what they say in Skyrim. Skyrim belongs to the Nords.
Yep.
Skyrim, Skyrim. Now I got Skyrim stuck. Star Wars should belong to the fans.
Because we are the one that...
No one else.
We are the ones that pay for the merchandising. We are the ones that pay to see the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, the true fans of Star Wars are the people who literally pay to buy Star Wars merchandise, to pay to see the movies, and you people want to, ask, and, you want to dumb us down, you want to call us every name in the book, you want to attack us because... Insult us Star Wars fans because you don't like our opinion.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? We don't like your opinion, so...
Yeah, we don't like your crappy movies.
Exactly. We don't like your crappy-ass movies. So there you go.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go back to this real quick. Lucasfilm, not Disney, still makes all the decisions. That is wrong. Disney also makes decisions as well, because they are just as much responsible for the fall of Star Wars as much as Lucasfilm. Okay, this right here is complete, pardon my French, bullshit. This says the new canon is much closer to Lucas's vision. Okay, so apparently Disney thinks that their canon is much closer. Bullshit.
Yeah.
That is a load of bull right there. It is not any closer to Lucas's vision. It never was.
No. Lucas's
You had...
is the original trilogy.
You people had a perfect source to work from. You had books and books, basically ukus and bukus of knowledge written from other authors, and yet you decide to destroy canon and EU, basically what Lucas's vision was all about, and that was the lore of Star Wars, and you completely set it ablaze and you push it aside. It's like, we don't need this crap. You do. Because if you hadn't, you would actually be better off with the original canon and EU of Star Wars instead of this new bullshit you call canon. This is not canon. Disney canon is not Star Wars canon. It is not. And I am not going to accept that. I don't have to accept Rey. I don't have to accept Kylo. I don't have to accept, Finn or Poe. I don't have to accept those people. Because they are not true Star Wars characters to me. They are nothing but wannabes. They are nothing but poorly written characters that have no meaning. They have no depth. They don't even have. Well, that's what I'm looking for. They don't even have. Damn it! I forgot the word. They don't even have a goal. They don't have a purpose. That's what I was going to say. They don't have a purpose in the film. They don't do anything. It's like, what's the point in making a new trilogy if you people don't know how to write? You had a whole line of information. You had tons of stories off of the original EU and canon, and yet you decided to erase George Lucas's and basically create your own. That's bullshit. Okay. And this one says George Lucas's new movies would not have included the EU. Baloney. It actually would have. George Lucas, okay, so he says this, I have story treatments of 7, 8, and 9. And honestly, there's hundreds of books and comics, everything you could possibly imagine. So I moved that treasure trove of stories to Kathy and have complete confidence she'll take them and great. Yeah. Well, I hate to tell you, George, but she never did. She never did keep that stuff safe. I really wish you wouldn't have trusted her with that. That's basically, giving, like, for example, okay, you know, George Washington and Benedict Arnold. That'd be like George Washington giving Benedict Arnold control of the United States. Do you have any idea what would happen if that happened? The United States, as we know it, would be gone by that point. I mean, I know this is history, but, you know, if George Washington hadn't found out about, you know, Benedict Arnold, and he would have entrusted, you know, the states with, you know, Benedict Arnold, then this country here would still be part of, you know, the British. It would still belong to the British. But yeah, basically what she did, and what Pablo Hidalgo did, was they both stabbed Lucas in the back. Like, here, take that. You know, we don't care about your stories. We don't care about, you know, Star Wars. We only care about money. We only care about pushing a feminist agenda. That's all we care about. Okay. The Star Wars expanded universe was never canon. That's wrong too. That's false. It says, now for the first time, Lucasfilm, Ltd., producer of the Star Wars movies, has authorized the continuation of this story. And that was source heir to the Empire, Timothy Zahn. Okay. It was canon. Because basically that was the expanded universe of Star Wars. And like I said, it was Lucas's vision, and Lucas was the one that proved these stories. I think this is basically, yeah. This is all that's there. Wow, that was a lot of stuff. But yeah, I mean, this site is really. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is the same thing. Okay. But here's another one. A Star Wars reboot was necessary to contain continuity. You're wrong. Disney, you are dead wrong. It says here, in the end, my ongoing vision is as long as there's a holocron, Star Wars will not reboot. Okay, so yeah, I guess I can agree with that. But no, I don't believe we needed this from Disney. We could have, we didn't need a reboot, but we could possibly have, 7, 8, 9 from Lucas, because Lucas would have been a lot better candidate. But no, a reboot was not necessary for Star Wars. Star Wars will always remain great, as it always has been. And, destroying, canon and EU and original trilogy and even the prequels is not something that you don't do. I mean, that's just, it just shows you, this blog that Ichi Bacca has provided us just shows you how twisted and how evil Disney and Lucasfilm can truly be. Because they think that, our canon is right, and George Lucas's canon is wrong. It should be placed in, it should be put as legend because it's not true. It may be fictional, yes, but it's what happened in Star Wars. You cannot change that. You cannot change what happened in Star Wars. It's basically like changing history. And that's one of the things you cannot do in real life. You cannot change history because it happened. It's the past. And here's another one. The expanding universe is the last one, too. The Star Wars expanding universe got too big to follow. Okay, so how is that even possible? I don't know how that is possible. Lucasfilm and Bantam decided that the future novels in this series would be interconnected. That is, events in one novel would have consequences in the others. You might say that each Bantam Star Wars novel, enjoyable on its own, is also a part of a larger tale. And that's completely correct. I mean, if you took all the books that these canon writers wrote back in the 80s, 90s, and maybe early 2000s, you would get tons of good content. Tons of good books you could read on. About Luke, about Leia, about Han, even about, Anakin Skywalker. Well, actually, he's over here. But, you could learn more about the characters through the expanded universe. And, I mean, that's what the expanded universe, was about. We had plenty of games as well. I mean, we had plenty of great games. We had, Jedi Knight, which was a good game. We also had The Force Unleashed, which, that game is one of my favorites. I love that game. That's my favorite. Even Lego Star Wars, but that's not really canon. Let's see. Shadows of the Empire, that was a game. It was even a book, I remember, if I remember correctly. We also had, what other canon games did we have? Star Wars The Old Republic, that was canon. That was really good, too. BioWare even made those games, and they were epic. I remember playing the first one. I haven't been able to play through the second. But yeah, I mean, those were great canon games because they explained more about the Star Wars universe. And they introduced new characters, even female characters that actually, fit into the story, that actually, made sense and were good female characters. And there was even a couple canon TV shows, like, for example, Clone Wars. That's also a good canon. Clone Wars was okay, but I think there were a few things that didn't really fit into, but it was still a good TV show to go by. Explain what happened in the Clone Wars, and that was pretty satisfiable. And, like the Clone Wars, there were a lot of women in the Clone Wars. We had Barra Safi or Ayla, what's her name? Ayla something, I can't remember. Asajj Ventress, Ahsoka, all kinds of, strong female characters, especially Asajj Ventress, because she was trained by Dooku. But yeah, she was the first female Sith Lord in the Clone Wars. And, I liked her because she's badass. She really is. But I don't see how, the expanded universe could be too big for you. Maybe it's because you all are lazy and don't want to sit there and read any of this content that these wonderful people who work with George Lucas on these books and stories and games, that you didn't want to sit down and read through this, this stuff. And it's like, you didn't want to do it for us fans. You wanted to do it for yourselves so you could get money and that you could, push an agenda that doesn't need to be pushed. So, I don't know. But yeah, that's what I feel with Disney and Lucasfilm. They have just completely destroyed everything. And actually, to be honest, this looks worse than what I've seen. I mean, they've completely hidden the fact, or are in the process of trying to hide that George Lucas created Star Wars. They're trying to make it look like they created Star Wars. Guess what? That's not going to work.
Yeah, we all know.
We all know. We are smart enough to know.
Wow.
Us true Star Wars fans are smart enough to know that George Lucas is the one who created Star Wars. And if you don't like my opinion, you can kiss my ass, because I am not going to stand for this.
No.
I don't know much about the EU.
Sugarcoat nothing for nobody.
Exactly. You can kiss my white ass, because I am tired of seeing this bullshit with you people.
Kiss my fat ass.
I don't care. Fat ass, white ass, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I am tired of this. I'm tired of you people ruining. And guess what? I ain't going to see a 9 because I ain't going to support a series that doesn't make sense.
No.
Because you all created horrible characters that don't have a meaning in the story.
Yeah.
They're basically just spin off of the original characters.
Yeah.
They're not Star Wars characters. They don't, like, what are these lame names?
Well,
Rey, Kylo
words.
Ren, Finn, Poe. Those are lame-ass Star Wars names. Come on. You guys could have picked a lot better.
Star Wars name for lame-ass
Star Wars characters.
Bingo.
Exactly.
Bimbo.
Bimbo. But yeah. So, yeah, I mean, thank you so much for ruining something that us Star Wars fans really enjoy, and that was Star Wars in the EU.
Yeah, thanks for ruining Thanks for ruining our childhood.
Well, see, I was never born in the 80s. Unfortunately, never in the same age or 80s.
But you still grew up with it.
I still grew up with...
I know. Childhood.
I know. Yeah. I grew up with the original trilogy first.
Just because, I'm closer to that age to where it came out when I was alive, it doesn't mean that...
Well, let's see, you were about 5 when it came out.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That was around, what? That was like 6 years, 5.5, so it'd be like 10. And it was like 10 when it came out. So yeah, I mean, my parents grew up with it, and I grew up with the original trilogy. I even grew up with the prequels.
I didn't get to see it in theaters, of course. I was only 5.
I didn't either. I mean, I wish I would have.
When I was 5, I was in foster care. So
yeah, I wish I could. I wish I could go see a Star Wars movie in theaters. But
I didn't know anything about it until, like I said, until I was like 7.
But this is my passion. This is one of my passions. Talking about Star Wars and, learning everything there is to know about Star Wars. And that's what you, Disney and Lucasfilm, should have done. I mean, Lucasfilm, out of all companies, you would know more about Star Wars because you people work for George Lucas.
Right. They did.
You would definitely know about the lore because he's the one that talked you over with it. Or it probably just went in one ear and out the other, probably. You probably didn't even pay attention to what Lucas had to say.
Okay.
If I was one of you people, I would listen and would hold on to everything that Lucas told me. Because Star Wars is not just, a movie. It is more than just a movie. It's a way of life.
What the hell? I don't understand that.
Star Wars is, a thing for family and friends. A way for people to spend time together. Because, Star Wars, has that great amount of, drama. It has a great amount of, adventure, romance, other different kinds of, genres that were placed into Star Wars. And, I mean, it's just really saddening to see what Disney has turned, Star Wars into. Yeah. Well, actually, Lucasfilm, too.
Junk.
It turned it into junk, exactly. They literally wadded the original Star Wars up into a ball and they threw it in the trash.
Yeah, it floated away with the rest of the garbage.
Yeah. Or put it in, you guys put it into a garbage compactor.
Yeah.
And squeezed the life out of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Itchy Bacca, thank you for this blog. It definitely opened up my eyes. I didn't even realize how badly they've destroyed the EU and canon. They really just tore into this, and they're really trying to hide it. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna say this for the last time: you're not gonna be able to hide anything from anybody, especially people who are smart enough to know who actually really created Star Wars, and that was George Lucas. And you people should be ashamed of yourself of what you've done to George Lucas. You have basically, I wouldn't doubt for a second that George Lucas is actually literally laughing right now at you people. Because of how miserably you're failing at this franchise. Yeah. You're not going to get anywhere with 9. Trust me. 9 is going to fail.
Yeah, and we're going to make dang sure it does.
And we're going to make sure it's going to fail. And, Rian Johnson, you can also kiss my ass as well, because your trilogy is not going to happen. Trust me on that.
Yep.
You should not be allowed to ever direct another Star Wars film again.
Yeah.
Or even, for that matter, write. I mean, your writing, my ass could write better than you.
Yeah, 3-year-old could write better than you.
I mean, he should not be allowed to ever touch Star Wars again.
No.
And that is a promise. So, yeah, well, I'm done, and, I just wanted to show you guys this and kind of give Itchy Bacca some credit on this. This is a really good page. So I don't know if I'll be able to provide the link to this. I might be able to. Can I see if I can copy it? I think it's called it's a good title for it too, because it says Disney Star Wars is dumb, and it is. It is totally dumb because they don't know hardly anything about the lore, and I think it was even a video out there on YouTube called Disney does not understand lightsabers, and they don't. If you all recall when who was it? Well, let's see, Kylo Ren sliced Finn on the back. Okay, so apparently you people don't realize that a lightsaber can slice through anything. Just about. It can slice through.
That would have killed him.
Yeah, it would have killed him completely. He would have been dead. Bam. And then Rey slices Kylo Ren's face and ends up with a scar.
Really? His face off.
Oh, come on. His face would have been sliced off. He would have been dead.
Yep.
I mean, if a lightsaber can slice through Vader's suit or helmet or whatever, it can cut just about anything except maybe for Mandalorian armor. That's it.
Yep.
You people don't understand lightsabers or blasters. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
you definitely pay attention to the lore and learn something.
They're not going to. You know that.
Because they can't. They don't have 2 brain cells to rub together, so they're not intelligent enough to do that. So.
All right, guys.
What do we expect?
I'm going to leave this and talk to you guys later, and have a great day.